gonna say, yeah.
Why don't you come sit up in one of these spots, just so that way, as we're chatting
Or
through.
if you want to stand the whole time. I mean.
Just as long as we don't get confused and I gotta come here all the time.
No, you have to come all the time now.
As soon as you sit in the seat, it's like a 2-year commitment, I heard.
Yeah. Well, we have talked about changing some of the stuff. Well, not changing, just reading the rules on the DDA of who can be here or not. So if anybody's tuning in, this is just the Heritage Fest volunteer meeting. This is a relatively informal meeting. So this is just a kickoff to discuss what's going to occur in September. Third weekend of September, that's not changing. Friday, Saturday, that's not changing. So that is still all happening. Other than that, we just have to kind of go through the complexities. Hello, folks. Hello, are you public?
Or are you volunteer?
Well, we're volunteers.
Oh, well, come on up here because we're doing it live just so people can hear what's going on. But if you sit there, nobody can hear all your awesome thoughts.
Yes. And I know you have thoughts.
Just so you know, when you talk, you got to come up to the mic. Okay, just saying. Well, there's a blessing to that. So anyway, we're just saying we just kind of kicking this off. Still the third weekend in September. That's not changing. What has been done so far is, and I'm kind of skipping around just so everybody knows where we're at. Okay.
Want me to go then?
Yeah. Why don't you tell everybody what's been booked so far for bands and everything?
Okay. So Sunset Boulevard has been booked for Friday night. They are an 80s rock cover band. They were recommended by Family Tradition, and also our sound production company has been booked, EQS, who works with Sunset Boulevard and Family Tradition. And the Family Tradition, obviously, Saturday night. We have one for sure food truck booked. They're called Old Fashioned Concessions. They want to be downtown during the day, and if the beer tent is in a separate location, they'll move to the beer tent at night and switch up their food from like concession food to like actual, food. Warsaw Cuisine wants to be a part of this, but they do not want to do the beer tent. They want to do during the day. So they just wanted to make sure we were good with that before they put us on the calendar. They said they would do Friday and Saturday, but they do not want to do at night. So as long as we're good with that, they're good to book us or to pencil us in. But
That's the Polish one, isn't it?
yeah, so good.
People follow them too. That's cool.
And then I've reached out to like a dozen other food trucks who all have said get back, like follow up within 90 days because they're not going to book this far out. So,
That's what we get for being prepared, I guess.
right. That's fine. I don't mind just as long as we get, the word out there.
Did you reach out to Chatitas?
I did, of course. Yes. Yeah.
How about Shredders?
Yep. Sure. Too.
And just to elaborate what production is, so they're a separate company. By us using production, one company for both nights, we actually can save money with both bands. So the production company is going to come and set up all the sound equipment, the lights, the amps, the speakers, all that stuff. So we're not now paying each band to either pay their own person to do it or outsource it. So that guy works with both. And if we bring in anything during the day, like we talked Third Degree Burns, I don't know if you know who they are. They're a kids band. They can come and use that equipment as well. So it just helps with a lot of the cost sharing.
I've also been reached out to by Jocelyn School of Dance. She asked if we were doing stuff during the day because she said they would love to perform. If so, I think we could find people to fill the stage, and we'll have sound and lighting. So if that's something that we want to do, I think finding people to fill the stage won't be a problem.
Right.
That would be neat. And like do we have a jazz band? Do we have like at the high school, a pep band? No.
Yeah, I mean,
Like a
yes.
pep band.
Yeah,
for
there's
games.
a jazz band.
Okay. maybe they would like to play for an hour or so one day, or like dance team or what have you. That would be
For
fun.
sure.
That would be cool.
What was I gonna say about production? So EQS said whatever scenario we want, just give him the most heads up possible so that he can make it the most efficient process for all of us. So if we're gonna be downtown, just let him know, and as the quicker we can get him all of the hookups and he can come kind of check it out, the better for everyone. So we just have to figure out where we're gonna be. Also, I talked to Chic Antique. Julie, is that her name? She has 3 acres behind her market, and it's on the river. Is that Bowie Creek? So she said if we wanted to do like cornhole tournaments or something back there, I know it's not easily accessible walking wise, but she said anything we need space for, let her know. For not just Heritage Festival.
Oh.
So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah, she really wants to utilize all that property back there. So
Awesome.
So one of the biggest complexities is where do we hold this event this year? Before you got here and before we went on camera, Bernie was mentioning that they are applying for the grant. If they get the grant come spring, tennis court is getting repurposed, right? So we got to stay within the DDA area. That was always the complexity before because the tennis courts technically wasn't in the DDA area, and it got very complicated on funding and everything like that. The Lions Club, as we learned, is in the DDA area. We could use the Lions Club parking lot or anywhere downtown. We do have to supply power to the event. We had a power drop off the back of the pole in the tennis court, which would not be able to be utilized in the parking lot for Lions because it'd just be too far away. Doing the lights downtown, I learned the 2 power stations that we have are very underutilized because our lights are very, very efficient. So there is power available at both boxes. So those are options right downtown for us to supply power. So a lot of it is we've got to come to agreement where we're putting the tent. And once we put the tent, we can kind of design the rest of the event around it. So that's key for logistics anyway.
we also have to figure out the social district, or that does not, I mean, that's separate to the beer tent, but it could work.
Yeah, so social, if
Correlation.
everybody knows what social districting is, if we back it, the businesses or the places that serve alcohol could partake in that. It has to be in one quadrant of the street. You need at least 2 bars, restaurants to support it. So we'd have to go in the southeast corner just because there's multiple there, you know, between Mikey's, Roots, and potentially whatever happens in the Huddle, where the other side of the street just is Chickies and there's just one, so we can't utilize that. So if we have that, the benefit to that is during the day, during that night, we'd still have the beer tent, of course, but people could walk there, get a mixed drink or what have you, walk around, go to dinner. So there's some benefits to that. And that wouldn't be just for this event. That would actually be, you know, year round. So social districting is year round. It's huge in Lapeer. I'm trying to remember, Rochester uses it. I mean, Lake Orion uses it. From the DDA meeting we went the other night, they went over and over how great that's been to the community in letting people kind of mill around and you know, have a drink and walk between restaurants or whatever they're doing. So that's a more of a function on the pure DDA side, but that is another option that could happen by then. We just have to see. All right.
One thing I was also thinking, parking wise, obviously that's always an issue. I have not looked into the logistics of this at all, but if we had some kind of shuttle and had parking at the high school and bringing people downtown, I don't obviously know the logistics, but if that's something we're interested in, we could start looking at that.
So last year we had that all approved. We had the high school on board. We had the route set up. We had it all done, but the buses at the last minute fell through. So it's something that can happen.
Would you be opposed to using school buses?
No. We did reach out to Dean. Dean did decline doing it at the time frame, and it may have just been
Staffing?
notice or staffing. I'm not sure. It could have been a timing thing when this all came about. So they were going to be, I don't remember where they were going to be chartered out of, but it wasn't going to be Dean. But school buses would be fine if they're, we were going to have either, we were going to pay for it or someone was going to donate part of it. Like I said, we got to the nth hour and it kind of fell apart.
I can look into that.
Yeah.
We'll
It's a
see.
great idea. We almost had it set up, so.
I'm just trying to think about where else we could have parking to get, especially if we're going to put the tent downtown, that's going to take up, the only place we have to put the tent is parking lot, right?
No,
No?
Street.
we put it in the street and shut the street down.
We have cars in the street for the car show? We're going to put it in between them?
We would put the,
West
so
St.
let's
Clair?
take East St. Clair, right? And we block off from Van Dyke to the First Street and put the tent there. That keeps all the parking lot open. It does hinder traffic flow, but you're not hindering everything else. So all the parking lots stay open. So let's say we were to have it there and the bands were playing there. So we would be able to utilize that during the day for the car show. Use that for our central area and where we're doing all the car show activities. Maybe have some top tier cars in there. I don't know. Or maybe we have some kids playing music. I don't know. But if we had it there, that would then keep everything open. It would, I believe, would require fencing. Yes.
Tell you the truth, there'd be a lot of people that probably want to go to the beer tent. So I would leave that open for the food and the beer.
Right.
Plan on using it for anything else.
Well, and that's the thing. If we do that, yeah,
Tables and chairs had to be set up.
right.
So
That's what I mean. Maybe we stage our area there where we do all the event using the stage we're already paying for. People can mill around there, eat or whatever. I don't know. So, it's just an idea, but yeah, you are right. If we get everything set up, it's not like we're going to be tearing it down. So that's going to be more of a,
Logistics.
yeah,
I think-
display area type thing.
I would like to shut West St. Clair too.
Yeah.
From Van Dyke, if we can, from Van Dyke to Branch. Doesn't really hinder traffic besides that intersection. And then we can have vendors or food trucks or something there to alleviate some of the stress on the parking lots. The more parking we have downtown, the better for people.
If we
Uh,
keep, go ahead.
The property behind Chic Antiques, can we park there and shuttle from there?
So I asked her about parking and it is, she said we could go, she took me back there and we walked back there and it's going to depend on how much rain and stuff we have because it is on a decline. So, and it's great. It's grass and, so.
Say totally understandable if she doesn't want her property tore up because it could happen.
She was so excited about the possibility of anything. She just said no petting zoo. So that was her hard line.
That's fair.
That's
Yeah.
fair. And,
Yeah.
The park, if we move this around, maybe the park is a great place for the petting zoo, or maybe the Lions parking lot, or I don't know. The problem with the petting zoo last year was, they didn't bring the animals in until a little bit later as we're setting up cars, and that added a lot of confusion. Maybe the petting zoo needs to go on the west side, so that way they have their own, they're not around millions of dollars of cars with trailers and animals that could get loose, right? They're on the other side. So, yeah. I know I mocked up, I don't know if you have the map. I just brainstormed a little map and we kind of looked it over, but, it depends on what people's vision are for what they're looking to do. As a business owner downtown, would you prefer it downtown, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I had a vendor's booth, and that's the way I make money. No, but I don't think anybody would come in to the shop. So if I didn't do the vendor's booth, I would close and then be free to help throughout the car show.
So, but having it down there and having the vendor's booth and having more of everything centralized, you feel that would be, it would be a reason for people milling around more during the day. I mean, the car show ends about 3, but having everything downtown where there's still food vendors and other things going on. I mean, we could,
We got
you know, we had the vendors
open.
ending at the car show.
We don't have to.
We don't have to now. So we could have that continue till later in the night before the concert starts or the start of the concert. So that gives you more time to be open.
I know I would love anything more that could be downtown. That would
Okay.
certainly be better for my business.
Right.
Also, I don't know if it's possible. I remember hearing that there was flack given, but at Burley Park during one of the homecomings, they had the petting zoo in Burley Park. This was 5 or 8 years ago. But that might be a possibility too. That's a way further away.
I know that's not going to be good.
Well-
okay, all right,
The veterans did not like.
yeah, okay.
And I've
Then-
already
then we
been
won't do that.
told, and I've by Jim Wade like multiple times. This is why Burley Park is sacred. So I would not perception like even if like that's I would not do that.
Well, I mean, well, if everybody feels that's a big enough draw, then, you know, we'll have to find a spot for it, right? I just think where it's at the church, although it is nice there, if the car show grows even more so than it did last year, having that come in and out while we're trying, either they're going to have to be set up before everybody gets there and leave after, which I don't think they want to do, or we're going to have to figure out something else because it's, you know, the car show is quite not only a draw of people, but
Oh,
it is a draw.
absolutely.
It's a draw of money to help out the event. You know what I mean?
I also think if we have things going on all day, like all of these car show guys' wives will come in social district and shop, and I don't know if we could plan some kind of like sidewalk sale. I don't think that our downtown businesses should be having to pay vendor booth fees, so that people can walk around and shop, even if they want to stay outside and don't want to go in store. If we organize something, I don't know what.
Sales, yeah.
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 Sidewalk sale, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a sidewalk sale.
I mean, all those are great ideas. I think the big thing is what we need to do first is plan where that's going to be. After that, we can come up with all the intricate details.
Oh, also, I reached out to, so I've used this open air green screen photo booth for PTA a few times. And so he just takes whatever you want and puts it on the green screen. And so you get your picture taken, and then whatever you want is on the green screen. And I'm trying to work out the details, but I think it would be cool if he was at the Historical Society with pictures on the green screen of downtown Elmont from like, the late 1800s, early 1900s. I think it would be good for them to raise some money, and he's a local guy, and he's, he's a good guy. So he'll give us a good deal and they can make some money, and I think that would be fun, and it might get people walking. I don't know.
Sounds
So it's worth
awesome.
a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, and the historical society is underutilized, right? And
It's so underutilized, and there's so much, like, I've been going there every Saturday, and I went to their last meeting, and it was just, I mean, there's so much cool stuff in there that I would love for that to be more utilized and more, it's just such a gem, more publicized. But I think it would be good for them to raise money, and also just a cool component to our Heritage Festival.
I would 100% agree.
So can we make it a plan for next time to sit down with a map and figure out where everything's going to be? I think that is probably the most important thing we need to do at this point, is figure out where we can fit everything downtown. Because I think most of us are in agreement that everything should be downtown.
All right, so without setting that in stone, everybody downtown?
Yes.
Downtown? 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 Okay. With that being said, Lions Club, do you know the answer? Do you want to go back to them? You know, with us having that there, they still want to help us sell the beer?
I'll go back and I'll ask.
Yeah.
That would be the proper way to handle it.
And we definitely want you guys involved. And again, the idea with the bands, a more of a draw from what feedback we heard. 2 nights of country people don't want. They want a little mixture. You know, we've heard they want rock and roll, so that would be a Friday. That Sunset Road, from what I understand, has quite the draw. Maybe not as big as Heritage, but from what I understand, they got quite the draw. So hopefully that means you Lions Club members can make more both days. Because I know usually Saturday's pretty big and Friday's light, right?
I think with the beer tent sitting, if it were to sit at the corner there, it's going to get a lot more eyes and a lot more attention and a lot more people, I would think.
Yep.
Also, if we have a social district and people are at dinner and they're like walking around outside and you hear a band playing, you're going to want to go in, right?
And depending on the bands, I mean, Music in the Park always gets some great draw too. Third Degree Burns, we kind of talked about them. They can't play while we're serving alcohol because they're minors, but that's something we can have before all that starts kicking off. That's an option, being we already have a tent there. So different ideas from that. It kind of opens up the door a lot more, and we're not out in La La Land where people kind of forget about us.
I have a question. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but if we were to have a social district, does that change the rules about the double fenced in beer tent? Because
might.
if you can walk around with beer in the area anyway, what's
I'll
the
find
point of
that
the
out.
double fence?
So I know in Lapeer there are signs like social district ends here, and I would think ours would have to end before the road.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would
you're
think
right. You're probably
we
right.
would still have to fence it.
And also to participate in the social district, the supporting restaurants have to have their own special cups.
Right.
So I don't know. There might be a special day permit because, that's stuff we're going to have to take a look at. There might be something special for all that we could get away with. I don't know. I don't know that answer, but I say let's look into it.
It might be
see.
worth trying.
Yeah.
To at least looking into like what do we need and what do
Correct.
we don't, and then we decide from there if we're willing to do that.
Well, in the meantime, we don't have to have the map now, but now that we decided we want it downtown, you could start looking into what are those rules and what do we have to do to satisfy those rules, right?
Right.
So when you come back to the meeting, now we have a little bit more towards the game plan, and what we have to design around, whether it's a fence or 2 fence or what's involved. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
I mentioned this before too. I would like to get a flyer put together to take to the bells to those vendors and see if they would be interested in coming downtown before they probably shouldn't say something before they decide to have an event that weekend too. That way maybe we can get some of those people downtown and keep people circulating. But we'll see. If anyone
Okay.
knows of any vendors or food trucks and wants me to reach out, send them my way.
I would definitely reach out to last year. Do we have a list of last year's vendors? Okay. Never mind then.
All right, we got 5 minutes left before the next one. Are we agreeing to meet every DDA meeting prior? Is that okay? Is a half hour enough? Should we move it to 6?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, we
I feel like
probably
we
should
probably
move it
need
to
more than a
6.
half hour. And if 6 on a Wednesday is too early for everyone, we can move it to a different day. That's fine.
I'm
But
fine
I'm
with
fine with
6.
6.
Just, I would say 6 to 6:50, so we got enough time
Yeah.
to kind of get that turned off and get DDA rolling. I'm fine with that. we're already here. I'm already here anyway, selfishly.
Real quick, do we want to go over chairs and responsibilities, or are we not worried about that at this point?
I don't,
All I know
I
is
don't know how it
that
was done last year.
last time it was brought up, it was said we have to have a chair, a vice chair. I don't know if we had to have a secretary and a treasurer. I don't remember.
no, it all runs through there. Why don't we table it the next time? everybody bring a friend or two.
I did.
And he didn't
It doesn't
want to
count
sit
if you're
up here.
married to him.
He's useless. Everybody bring a friend or whatever. Let's talk about it then. By then, we got to get our arms around the car show and who's doing that. So maybe we can beg and plead somebody, as long as they don't have the title, to be involved.
I talked to him today.
Wayne, if you're watching.
I talked to him.
All right. All right. Why don't we adjourn this unofficial, whatever this is called?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna turn that off and start a new one.
Thank you, ma'am.